everybody, welcome to Crafty Aims Workshop. My name is Amy, and if you're new to my channel, let me tell you what I'm about. I make crafts of all sorts. I show you different things and different ways to clean up your craft room, or eventually I'm going to be doing some planning, but mainly it's crafting, such as crocheting, clay crafting, paper, bookmaking, art journaling, you name it, I'm doing it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let's get started with my video today. So today it is all about shells. How are we going to preserve them and make them go from looking dingy and ugly to looking brand new? So that's the video today. I'm also going to show you how you can travel with them, because that's what I had to do from going from Florida back to Tennessee, especially with the sand dollars. Those are very fragile. So I'll show you how I traveled with them back and they stayed perfect. So that's what this video is about today. So let's get started. Okay, so here's a small portion of the shells that we found on the beach. We didn't get a lot this year because I have like bukus of sand dollars and different types of shells, so I really didn't want to bring back a lot of shells this year. So I'm just going to show you what we found, and we'll go from there. So let me get have you see what we've got close up. This here, I think, is just like a sponge type thing. I just thought that was really cool. So, okay, so this one I think is just a bigger version of a cat's paw. So this is a cat's paw, and then you have this one, which is the fighting conch. And some of them still have other tiny shells in it. This one, this might be called the lightning whelk. I'm not for sure. This is another fighting conch. You see how it's it's nice and kind of shiny in places, but with it probably being in the water and it's hitting the sand and it's just getting pounded, it's getting worn out. So there's that one. This one, I'm sorry guys, I don't know for sure, but I think that might also be a fighting conch, but I can't tell you for sure. And then you have your ones that you see all the time. You can't get away from them. They're beautiful, but this one I actually found it's still got its really cool ridges on it. Those are called calico clam, maybe? Or, oh, it's probably a cockle. C-O-C-K-L-E. And then these are the scalloped. These are the scalloped. And these are the ones I really love because they have the pink, purple, fuchsia type colors in them. Let's see. And I love the black ones. This one, I loved it because some people like to take the barnacles off, but I just love this because of the barnacles. So hopefully I can fix it to where the barnacles won't come off. Okay, this one is called the olive seashell. And this one is pretty nice looking shell. It's still got the shininess to it. Here's another one, it's still shiny. Oh, this one might be called Buttercup. Let me see. This one might be called Buttercup. I'm not real sure. Since I'm not native to Florida, I don't know the names of this stuff. I'm actually looking at a reference sheet here. So, and then this one is a banded tulip. Broken, of course, but it was so pretty we had to get it anyways. Various different types of shark's teeth, and then we also have some barracuda teeth here. There's little indentions in there where they may have ground their teeth back and forth or something. I'm not sure, but this is a barracuda tooth. And then you can see there's several others. Now, we found like so many shark's teeth on the beach. This is just like a minute amount here that I was going to show you. But yeah, find those beaches with the shark's teeth because that is so fun to try to find. Alright, so there's what we have. And now let's get to cleaning them up. Oh, also I found some driftwood, and I'm going to make some little items out of that. Here's another piece of driftwood I found. That one looks like that was put it in a fire or something, but I love how it has all those little nicks and burnt places. Alright, now let's get started. So what we're going to need is some bleach, and you want some pure bleach, nothing with any perfumes or anything like that, just regular pure cheap bleach. The other thing is you're going to need some glue, so you can get the cheap Jot white glue at Dollar Tree for $1, or go to Walmart, get some Elmer's glue, Glue All, or just the school glue. It'll all work. So what you'll also need is a tool to try to scrape off anything you don't want on your shells, such as barnacles or whatever. You're also going to need some mineral oil, or I have baby oil. This is mineral oil with some fragrance in it, but you can use baby oil. It works just as good. You're going to need a container to put your bleach in, and it can be a plastic container, a glass one, anything you have laying around. Don't worry about what you're using on that. Just something that'll hold the bleach, and big enough for you to put whatever shells and sand dollars that you need to put in there. Then you're going to need some paper towel or cotton balls. Well, you're definitely going to need paper towel, but if you want to use something other than a paper towel to wipe the oil on your shells, I would use like a cotton ball or even a really soft cloth. And then also you're going to need a paintbrush so we can put glue on the sand dollars. So I think, and then you need your shells. Don't forget that. Alright, so let's get started with the process here. So first step is just cleaning the shells. So first of all, just run them under some cold water, just to get the sand and all the grime that's on it that you can get off with just rinsing it off, and then putting bleach in here. I dilute it some people don't. It's up to you, but I wouldn't dilute it much. You do need the power of the bleach to get any algae or whatever that might be on these. You want to get it off. You don't want to keep it there, because if you don't, your shells are going to stink, and you don't want that. So just put your bleach in there, put a little bit of water if you want to, and then just start filling up your container. I would recommend wearing gloves. I did not say that in the beginning, but you do need some gloves. You can use kitchen gloves or whatever. But just start putting them in there after you put the water and the bleach in. I've already done my shell, so I'm not going to do it for this. I don't think it's really needed. You guys get the gist. But I would probably go ahead and do it. Keep them in there between a couple hours to overnight. And then we will after you take them out, go ahead and rinse them with cold water again. Get the bleach off, and then set them out in the sun. Now this is what I do. I go ahead and set them in the sun, let them dry out. If you want, you can dry them with a towel. But then I would go ahead and put them out in the sun just so they can dry on the inside too, because you can't really get into the inside. We'll do that. That might take an hour or two. And then you can start getting your tool, and like on this one, this to me just looks like it's worn. But if you have like any barnacles on there or anything, oh, here's a barnacle that I might not want. So on here, you can see, just take your tool and it just very easily, it pops right off, as you see there. After you've cleaned it off with your, oh, look, there's still sand coming out of there. Oh, I love these. There's probably a whole lot of sand in there. By the way, when you're collecting your shells, make sure you're not collecting any with the animals still in it. We've done that once and it was very sad. It was a tragedy. But also not just being a tragedy, but it stunk like crazy. So just make sure there's no animals in there. This one, it just has some seashells in there that I can't get out. They're in there good. Okay, so after you've done that, we're going to move on to looking at it and seeing, do I need to coat it with oil? Right now, this one looks pretty dingy. You've got some spots that are a little bit shiny, and then like this right here, which you're probably not going to be able to fix much. There's some more stuff. You can put oil on it and it'll brighten it up just a little bit. But especially for like these here, you're going to see a noticeable difference once you put the oil on that. This one, since it's already shiny, it's up to you if you want to put oil on it, but there's no need to. It's already shiny. There's nothing wrong with this shell. It's perfect the way it is. All you needed to do was clean it, and you can just, that one's easy. Just set it to the side. You don't have to bother with anything else. So let's go ahead and put some oil on some of these shells so you can see what the difference is. Okay, so you can see we've got these beautiful shells here. They're a little bit on the dingy side. I mean, they're still very pretty, but it's going to look even better when you coat it with a little bit of baby oil or mineral oil. So get out your mineral oil. I'm just going to use the little cap here. Pour some in there. I've got a Kleenex. You can use a paper towel, cotton ball, Kleenex, whatever you want. And I'm setting these here like this so you can see the difference. They're all pretty much the same shell. And the colors are pretty close to each other, so we're just going to go ahead and just wipe the shell with the oil. Make sure it gets into the little crevices there, the little lines. You don't have to use a lot. A little goes a long way. So do the inside as well as the outside. And let's see if you can see a difference between those two, or those 3, 4. Let me do this one now. And all you have to do is just let that dry. It will dry. You may want to do this maybe like once a year. I mean, it's not very often that you have to reapply oil on these shells. And you don't have to put any oil on them if you're going to keep them in like a fish tank or something like that, because they're going to have that really bright look to them because they're wet, and that's what we're going for. There's another one. So this one and this one are very similar to each other, so I don't know if you can tell the difference. Let me see if I can get closer. So these two are the ones that have been oiled, and then this one is not. So there's a little bit of difference there. That one's not been. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but in person you definitely can tell there is a difference. So let me go ahead and show you. Let's go ahead and do this one now. Let's see if we can get this looking any better. Look at that. It pops. It took that. You know, I don't know. I may have been able to wash that off. I don't know. But the oil pretty much brings its color back, and it looks brand new again. But it's obviously an old shell. I can see there's some holes in there. But you know what? They're all beautiful. So just get the ones you want and bring them home. And there's plenty of shells to go around. I'm telling you what. Some beaches have more than others, I will say that. But look at that. That just shines up so nice. And it took away that horrible spot that was on there. Now, after it dries, it might come back just a little bit. It might peek through. But as of right now, that's the way it's going to look. Now, this one is a auger shell or a seraphim shell. I'm not sure. But it's beautiful. I think I left this one in the bleach too long because I believe this one did have some color on it. And what I mean by too long is I thought I had taken the bleach water out of this cup that I had them in. And yes, I did use a red Dixie cup. I did not. So this was one of those that were on the bottom. And so it was sitting in there for, well, ever since I came back from Florida. So what's that been? It's been about a week or two now. But look how just this oil, mineral oil, will just brighten and liven these up. It just looks so beautiful. Do that one. Now, let's see. I am not, I'm not a native to Florida or any places with beaches. I'm going to go ahead and put oil on this. I don't know if it's really needed, but I'm going to do it anyway, see what it looks like. And I believe this is just like sponge or coral, I guess. I'm going to say coral. If any of you Floridians know what some of these shells are and I messed up on, please comment down below and let me know, because I would love to know. I don't want to be saying the wrong name for these shells. Okay, so here's another fighting conch. And I'm just using Kleenex like I said before. And see how it's kind of sandy looking? Now my finger's going over it with the oil on it. But it's kind of dingy. Watch what happens. Look at that. It just brings it back to life. Look at these beautiful things God's created for us to admire and to see the beauty of God. Now, even though these are small conch type shells, I think you can still hear the ocean. Yes, you can. I just did. Listened in on what the ocean was doing. It's beautiful. Let me do this one real quick too. And then get that beautiful. I try to get in there as far as I can, if just so if someone wants to turn it over and look at it, it still has the shininess to it. Oh, look at the little indentions. So from dingy to pretty. Okay, so after you have oiled them, I would let them sit for a little bit just so they can dry off. The oil can get really seep into the shell, and then start crafting with them. I would probably give it a day to really let it work its magic. You may even want, like on this one, you may or may not, that's the one that had all that white stuff there. You may want to do another coat. I don't know. I don't know if it would matter. But then, if you're going to craft with them right away, go for it. If you're not, then shells like this, they're not going to break real easy. Not like sand dollars. So you can either just put them in a bucket on top of one another, because that's what I've got right now. They're all mixed together, and then you can use them later. Now we're gonna work on sand dollars next. Okay, so you're gonna need a container to put water and glue in it. Some people, they don't even they don't dilute it any, and you can do that, that's fine. I was always told to dilute it a little bit, so I would probably do 1 part water to 2 parts glue. And if you want to use something this big, you can. I'm going to use this Jot white glue. Actually, I'm going to use my glue all, because that's what I started using. We had put 1 layer of glue on these already, but I had accidentally diluted it way too much. So I am going to go ahead and put some glue in. And you don't need a lot, especially if you just have a couple shells to do. So I think I put in there maybe a teaspoon. And then I need water. So let me get some water. So I'm just going to put just a little teeny tiny bit. That was probably too much. That was probably a half teaspoon. I don't know. And then just take your brush and mix it together. I think I'm going to put more glue in that. You decide how much you want to put in there, but I would go with the 1:2 ratio. 1 part water to 2 or maybe even 3 parts glue. Like I said, some people go full strength glue. It's up to you. And then I've got a real cheap brush I got at Dollar Tree. It works, but I think I would prefer the regular paint brushes that aren't so, the bristles aren't so plasticky, but it doesn't really matter. So you're just brushing this on. You're going to do both sides. Let one side dry and then flip it over and do the other side and let it dry. Now, I'm going to do one because I did see somebody do just full on glue. So let's just see what pouring glue on it looks like. I'm wondering if you could use like Mod Podge or something, but for me, where I live, Mod Podge, it kind of gets sticky. So I don't know if I would like to do that. But the glue all, it's perfect. I have 0 problems with glue all. But Elmer's glue, just the regular school glue, it's very good too. That's what we usually use, but I just ran and got some glue and wasn't paying attention to what I got. So it really doesn't matter. Just get you some glue. Make sure you paint it on there. You know what? That don't look bad. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. But so there you go. There's one with no water, and here's one with water. Both of these, this would be our second layer. So, okay, I forgot to do the shark's teeth. So here we have one that looks kind of dingy. Don't know if I can bring it close enough for you to see. It's kind of dingy. So usually they're not dingy. Usually they're like this. They're perfectly shiny all on their own. But, you know, they're not all like that. So I'm going to see what baby oil does for this shark's tooth. And looky there. Ooh, it's not as gray as it was before, so I like that. So mineral oil is really good for shells and for shark's teeth. So check that out. Let me see if I can get the light better. Alright, cool. So you might want to do your shark's teeth too if they're kind of dingy looking. Now guys, you can decorate your rooms with these, make crafts with these, make necklaces or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of beautiful things you can do. You might want to go on Pinterest and check it out. I'm sure there's probably a whole ton of different ways to craft with shells. In fact, I'm hoping the next video will be about different ways to, what things you can do with your shells. One year I actually took my sand dollars and I used some of the puffy paint, and I just outlined each little thing on just whatever color you want, and then hung it like a Christmas ornament. So that's one thing you could do. But like I said, I think next week I'm going to have a video on different ways to use these shells. As you know, I told you earlier, I have a ton of shells, and I really do need to get some use out of them, because there's no use for them to just sit here in a box somewhere. But I was going to tell you how I got these from Florida back to Tennessee. What you need is paper towel or a napkin for the sand dollars, and then all I did was kind of wrap them, put one on top of the other as gently as possible, kind of fold it up like a little package. I didn't tape it, I didn't do anything like that, and then I stuck it in a Ziploc bag, as you see here. I only took out a couple, so these are still wrapped up from Bleach. You can kind of see that right there. And then on some of them, since we had so many, I stored them in a Cheez-It box. So repurposing trash again. So as you can see, there's a bunch more sand dollars that I have to do something with. Let's see if I can find a tiny one for you. So you've seen my big ones, now you can see my tiny ones. So here's a tiny one. Look at that, little baby sand dollar. Here's another one. I used a napkin to do these. Yeah, I could definitely put another layer of glue on some of these. That one's pretty much perfect. I love sand dollars. And it's a real treat when you can find one, because sometimes you cannot find them, and it's like, who's going to get that sand dollar first? Who's going to get the first sand dollar? That's always fun to do. That's the game. Oh, that one was broken a little bit when we got it, so. But look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that one was in there, so 6 and 1. Oh, wait a minute, there's another one in here. Right there. So about 7 I put in here, little tiny ones. So just need 1 napkin, depending on how many you got. And just fill it up until you feel like it might be too much. Some people might even just do 1 napkin for 1 shell and wrap it up. That's fine. Do whatever you want to preserve those beautiful things. But I would, before you travel with them, go ahead and put the glue on them. Otherwise, you're going to come back home and you're probably going to have some broken sand dollars. I was going to show you guys the postcard that I found that had all of the different sand dollar, or all the different shells and sand dollars that you could find. And their names. So if you need a reference, check that out. I'm sure Pinterest as well has anything you need to know about sand dollars and different types of shells. So check that out too. If you guys are interested, I do have an Instagram account, and I did put some of my pictures from our Florida trip up there, so check that out. I'm at, it's that little @ Crafty _Aims. Check me out there if you need to. Just go in the description and you'll see what to click on when you see it. When you go down in the description, just look down. I'll put in there where you can find my Instagram account, and you can see all of my crafts and pictures that I've taken, and then my Florida pictures as well. So if you guys like this video, I hope you will give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It really does make me feel good every time I see a new subscriber. It just gives me little giddies. I start laughing and I'm happy about it. So right now, the last time I looked, I had 85, and so I'm so excited about that. So go ahead and subscribe to me. I try to have a video out at least once a week, usually on Thursday or Friday. And if you guys have any suggestions of something you'd like me to do, go ahead and put a comment down below, and I'll go ahead and get that to you. I'm trying to get a video on there